You are the creator of your own experience, moment by moment, and so is everyone else. And we want to lay one platform. It's an uncomfortable statement for some who haven't thought about it much before. We think that you'll feel the harmony of it as your understanding begins to bubble back to the surface, as you begin to remember all of this stuff that you have known for a very long time. In this universe, in this physical time-space reality in which you are focused, there is not an already decided right and wrong about stuff. And you get the sense of that as you watch different families or cultures or civilizations making different decisions about different things, about what they deem is right and wrong. And they give each other such a hard time. In other words, the confusion about that, the argument over what's right and wrong, and the determination to make those that are doing what you consider to be the wrong thing stop doing it, and their decision to get you to stop doing the wrong thing. It is at the heart of the discord, not only that you have with each other, but the tug of war that you generate within yourself, which is really the only one that we're talking about ever, is that tug of war between you and who you really are and all that you've become. And so today, for a little while, rather than thinking so much about, Esther used to say to us, well, I wouldn't do that. I would never do that. And it took us a while to make Esther understand that that's sort of an irrelevant thing. Just because she would never do that does not mean that she gets to stand in that place of, I'm right about this, because, oh, that place will bite you. When you stand in a place where you are sure that you are right, you do so many irrational things that work against yourself and against the common good, against what you're really reaching for in terms of the harmony that you seek. So rather than trying so hard to keep defining this right and wrong thing, it's like, so you're stopped at the stoplight because it's red and you know that's right. You don't go on a red light unless the exceptions, you're turning right and there's nobody coming, blah, blah, blah. Or unless there's a sign posted that says under no conditions will you turn right, or unless, but you know the rules. And you've decided that you're not going to break this rule. And then you're doing something else that you knew was right because you remembered it from your driver's education training, that when you stop, you look in your rearview mirror to see what's happening behind you. So here's a red light and you're stopping, but you also do that other right thing. You look in your rearview mirror and you see that the 18-wheeler that's barreling in behind you apparently doesn't see the red light and he's not going to stop. So what do? Well, if you're an upright citizen, you sit there and you let him cream you. Because that would be the right thing to do. Or do you follow the path of least resistance? Do you use your own ability to evaluate, and do you allow this broader perspective being that is really you to feed you the impulse to always keep you going with the flow, with the well-being that you seek and with the love and kindness that you are? And so we know that's really a ridiculous analogy, because it's only those who don't pay attention who would not move out of the way of that. But there's a whole lot of things that you don't move out of the way of because you've practiced being in the way of them, because somebody has taught you that being in the way of that is the right thing to do. And we say, there is a source energy, infinite intelligence, absolute loving perspective of you at all times, calling you, gathering you as one of the cooperative components to cooperate with the well-being of your own life. But you got to be in the mood. You got to be in the vibrational atmosphere. You can be so resistant to your own guidance system. And when you are, then we know you want to blame the circumstances, you want to blame the others. And we don't want you to blame anyone. We want you to know what you don't want and know what you do want, and understand that when we talk about the path of least resistance, we're talking about the path of most allowance. And when we're talking about the path of most allowance, we're talking about the path of you allowing yourself to be the most of what life, all that you have lived, has caused you to be. And we also want to say, in a very powerful way, nothing less than that will do for you. Because there is no regression. You can't live life which causes you to know what you don't want and ask for more. And your inner being stand there in your vortex with what you've asked for, focused upon what you've asked for and understanding it completely, and the law of attraction responding to that point of view, and all of the cooperative components being gathered to who you have become, and you not be one of them, and you feel good. That's the biggest tension that you've got going on. You have become so much that you are not allowing yourself to be. And most of the reason that you don't allow yourself to be what you've become is because you are arguing for the limitations that you learned when you were little or yesterday. This law of attraction thing, this bag of marbles that you're carrying around, it's complicated in the sense that a lot of things have affected what you put in there. But it's simple in the fact that this bag of marbles has a relationship with this bag of marbles. And the blending of the two is what the bliss of life really is what you came to do. You said, I'll go, I'll live, I'll figure it out, and I'll align with the whole of who I am. And I will be a powerful caller together of things that feel good for anybody that's in the vicinity. But not one of you said, I'll go out there and I'll sniff it out. I'll find out who's doing the wrong stuff, and I'll get after them, and I'll clean this mess up by making them stop doing that stuff that is wrong. And we say, with all of the love that we can get Esther to muster in her voice, how's that working out? Esther's friend, she's a comedian on a cruise ship, pink-haired. Way fun. And she calls Esther at the end of every cruise that she goes on, that the comedian goes on, and talks about where they were, how beautiful it was, and whatever happened that was significant. And she called Esther and said, oh, this was the worst cruise. And Esther said, oh? She said, yeah, the stage manager did not know what he was doing. And Esther said, and? And her friend said, so I had to tell him. And Esther said, how'd that work out? She said, it was terrible. It was terrible. He wasn't having any of it. We just battled the whole time. It was miserable. I couldn't get off that ship fast enough. And so Esther's talking to us about it after. She likes meaty things to chew over. And we said, your friend is not the stage manager. She's not the law of attraction either. She is a person on the stage doing her thing. But when she tries to do something that is somebody else's to do, especially when she's unhappy with the way the one who is supposed to be doing it isn't doing it or is doing it, then she's all out of whack with who she is. And that's the reason she had a miserable cruise. She can blame it on that person, and she can let that be the reason. She's arguing for her limitations and using that as the object of her attention. But this is what's really going on. This is the story. This is what's really going on. You all said, I'll go, let's go, have experiences. Everybody said that. Let's go and make choices. Everybody said that. Everybody said, there's going to be stuff that I agree with and stuff I don't agree with. Everybody said that. It's like a hair blowing back experience sometimes. And it's happening. And if something is intense and not wanted, you just have to sort of give yourself a break in an attitude of this too shall pass, and not try to hit it head on. Because when you try to hit something head on that you are living in a strong way, you perpetuate it. So take a nap, take a walk. Distraction is just about the best thing that you can do. But if something's really happening, it's hard to be distracted by something that's really happening. But that is the answer. the path of least resistance, better said, the path of most allowance, is a variable on different subjects. Some subjects you've thought about longer. Some subjects you've thought about more purely. In other words, you don't have so much contradiction going on. Some subjects you have a whole lot of marbles about them, but more important, some subjects you activate more often. And sometimes it's because of influence of people around you or because of what's going on in the world in general. It is attention to the subject that keeps them active. It seems like it's complex, but it's really very simple. There are a lot of labels that could be applied to it, but the label that we apply to it is the law of attraction responding to thoughts that you continue to think. And don't try to analyze it or figure it out or explain it or defend it or justify it. Just accept that it is law of attraction's response. And then you do have, like right now in this moment, you are exercising your ability to acknowledge which of that you prefer and which of that you don't prefer. So this is a good time to deliberately choose existing marbles for the parts of what you're living that feel good. There's a saying that it's not so prevalent anymore, but it has been over time. The devil made me do it. I can't explain what's going on. I'm possessed. I can't explain what's going on. And we say, the law of attraction is responding. If you could give up the need to explain how whatever that the law of attraction is responding to got there, and just start fresh with, oh, the law of attraction is responding, then you could get out ahead of it a little bit by deliberately deciding what you prefer, even of that. Esther's been playing a really effective game with herself really recently because it occurred to her because someone asked a question. And as we responded to it, as Esther was driving back to her house, she thought, oh, this is big. And this was the reply that we gave to someone. A lot of what you are saying or thinking, you're receiving from your inner being. A lot of it. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And of course, the better it feels, the more likely that is the case. It doesn't mean that you cannot be saying things that your inner being is completely at one with also, but so much of what occurs to you is a direct inspiration coming from source. And Esther thought, I'm going to start following those impulses, because for a long time she thought if it was coming from source, and she thinks of Abraham as source, and we are a part of what she thinks of as source, but it's profound and it's infinite intelligence and it's helpful. But sometimes it's get a drink of water. Sometimes it's get up from your desk and move your body a little bit. And so we would like to say to you, we really want you to hear this. A lot of what you're receiving is that pure energy from source. And when it feels like it's the opposite of that, it's because this is what you want so much. And when you don't think you can get that, a lot of times when people are talking about wanting more money, they don't realize what they're doing is amplifying the fact that they don't have enough money. Because it's really the same subject that's being amplified on both ends of the stick at the same time. So sometimes I'm like this and sometimes I'm like this. And we say it's all right and it's all part of the same thing. Just focus on what you are doing and let the only clarification that you're reaching for be, how can I follow my path of least resistance? And if you're saying, I should be doing that, I should be doing that, I should be doing that, you're not following the path of least resistance. We're going to give you a strong statement. One of the best things is to discover how you get to make clarity out of chaos. It's through focus. But it's through liking clarity. If you're trying to sort through the chaos for the clarity, the chaos just gets bigger. But if you're trying to find or feel the clarity, feel the difference in that?